Hello everyone, welcome to OmniBUZZ. Today I'm accompanied with one of my friends who has been teaching English for years and he also has many experience, interacting with many people in international cultures. And now this is Gabi. Hello Mas Gabi.
Hello, nice to meet you, everyone. Good evening. Well, it's evening right
It's
now.
evening.
It
Yes, it's evening.
is
As you
evening,
can see, it is
yes.
very
And
dark.
it is. I mean, I gotta pen a little bit because otherwise you're gonna see, things that you should not see in the dark. Yeah, as you
Oh,
can hear from the cricket, I'm a bit outside here. It's open air.
that's
Yeah.
actually what I'm expecting from you. I'm expecting to see something, surprising or corporeal behind you.
Okay. For tonight, let's not. Yeah, let's
Let's
not.
not.
Maybe we
Okay.
can always have that another time. So my name is Gabriel Tayo. I've been teaching English for maybe 20 years now. I remember I started teaching when I was still in high school, and
Oh, that's quite a
I
long time.
also it is actually. I just realized it right now, and I basically worked in an international language course corporation for almost 9 years now. And yes, I've experienced traveling to several English-speaking countries myself, like England, Australia, and I've been to several countries, but mostly for leisure, yeah, for vacation. But
Yeah.
of course, there's nothing that is truly vacation. We
Yeah.
always learn something
Yeah,
on the way, right?
especially when it comes to learning language. There's always something new. There's always something to
True.
add to our dictionary.
Exactly, exactly.
Yes.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for having me tonight, Mr. Joe.
Okay, so now let's talk about uh, one thing. Something that has
Sure.
been talked by many people, right? So
Uh-huh.
the main questions for tonight is it
Okay.
actually possible to get 500 plus TOEFL score in a very short time? Because as you already know, as your experience have shown you, we have so many
Hmm.
people or institution or perhaps organizations that promise to other people that they can get 500 plus TOEFL score in a very very short time. Is that actually possible?
So that's the burning question. Okay. First of all, you need to find out what a TOEFL is, okay? Because a lot of
True.
people say, like, yeah, we need to have a TOEFL score, and then people say, like, you need to have this amount of TOEFL score so that you can get to this institution, etc., etc., etc. But a lot of people don't really realize what TOEFL actually is. Well, if you've heard English proficiency tests like TOEFL, IELTS, what else? TOEIC, yeah.
TOEIC,
Those
yes.
are basically yes, those are basically just testing the barest knowledge of the language. So it actually tests just the minimum level of your language. However, a lot of people also don't realize the difference between these tests, right? Um, if I can put a little bit of analogy to these tests, they're kind of like uh, fast food. Fast food has
Why
different
fast food?
chains
I actually have different
because
and different metaphor though, but let's just go with yours.
okay, because like fast food,
Right?
they have branches all over the world.
Of course. Right.
Okay, and they're basically made by big corporations,
Right.
right? And just like fast food, they all specializes in different things.
True.
Like some specializes in burger, some other specializes in fried chicken, some other specializes in pizza,
Right.
and TOEFL, TOEIC, and also IELTS are basically just like that. Yeah, so it's basically a bunch of um, an instant test. It is an instant test, right? You being tested for like only
2 or 3
several hours
hours.
and 2 or 3 hours
2 or 3
maximum.
hours.
And then yes, and from that test, that simple test, they already like, okay, this is your English skill. Even though it's not always that the case. Yeah, some people actually speaks good English cannot even score up to 500.
Yeah. Because most of the native couldn't even score 500.
No, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot of native people, a lot of native English speakers, when put to a test of their own language,
They
they
will
messed
most
up.
likely fail the
Okay.
test.
So, well, most of them will fail. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason is because just like when we Indonesian being tested in Indonesian test, in Bahasa Indonesia test, most of us, unless you're paying attention to language class when you're in school, will fail miserably.
Yeah. Just because you
Now,
speak it, it doesn't mean that you know it.
exactly. So that's the thing. In TOEFL, especially because we're not talking about TOEFL, we
Right.
play with lots of rules. Okay,
Right. True.
and I guess that is the basic and the core of the test itself. IELTS tests you about other things. TOEIC asks you about different things, but TOEFL asks you about the understanding of rules and regulations in the language. Okay,
Yeah.
so as you might know, the most standard form of TOEFL that people are taking are the ITP, yeah,
The ITP or the
and
PBT.
yeah, would they call it the PBT?
Hmm.
Now they don't call it PBT anymore. I guess it's a bit outdated. It's a
Right.
paper-based test, and now it's ITP,
Yeah.
right?
Because the
Um,
test itself is mostly conducted online now.
it is, yeah. Uh, the most modern format is IBT. I think IBT, internet-based TOEFL test, is basically the one that is recognized internationally rather than the
Yes, because it is
ITP. I
basically
think,
the IELTS of TOEFL. But let's just talk about that later.
yeah,
Right.
it's the premium version of TOEFL. So,
True.
um,
With premium
so
price.
the premium price. So ITP is basically
Hmm.
the backbone of it, the one that is still being used by many corporations, educational institutions in Indonesia to sort of like the passing grade for those who are about to graduate or
Yeah.
about to enter into their
Yeah.
institution.
Yeah.
Now, ITP test itself scores. Do you know the maximum scores of ITP test, Mr. Joe?
It's 670 something.
677 to be exact.
77. I always forget the seven one.
Yes.
677.
677.
77.
And they don't get even as high as 700. It's only 677.
77.
And the bare minimum, I guess, was 500. Some other have 550, but it's always in that margin, 500 and 550.
But you can still get
Um,
400. Most people who are unfamiliar with the test, most likely get 400 something.
Yeah, 350 up until 400,
Right.
425, if I'm not mistaken. And those who are familiar with language but never have taken a TOEFL guidance
Right.
course.
Because no matter
Yeah.
how good
So
you are, you will most likely fail your very first test.
exactly, that's the thing. That's what these schools, that's
Hmm.
what these language programs sells you. It's the guide to survive the TOEFL test. Imagine that you're playing PlayStation and you
Hmm.
don't know how to get through this level, right? So instead of going for cheat codes,
Right.
right, this corporation offers you walkthrough
Walk through.
so that you, yeah, walkthrough
Right.
so that you can get out from that place without using any cheat, but properly.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what these companies are selling, and and to be honest, the burning question, is it possible to get 500? It is very possible, but not without lots of conditions and requirements,
And
of
that's also a
course.
big if.
Big if,
A
yes,
big
true.
if.
Um, big if. I mean, if we have this sort of a like standardization. If you start from 400, yeah, if you have ever done a TOEFL test
Hmm.
before, you got 400 or maybe even below,
450.
say
Right.
450 or even below. Usually people get like 300 something,
Oh,
and then
really?
they select. Yeah,
Okay.
really. I've seen one with 250. Yeah, but
You can actually
uh,
gamble with the answer and still score 400 actually.
exactly. So that's the thing, because it's all about regulations. Yeah, as long as you answer correctly, they don't ask you any further. It's
Right.
not about understanding the language. Okay, a lot of people think that it's about understanding the language. It's not. It's understanding the regulations of the language.
Or the game plan of the test.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. TOEFL was never about how good you are, how proficient you really are in your English, but more about how much you understand the language.
Yes, proficiency is actually important, but no matter how proficient you are, if you don't know how to do the test, for example, if you don't know how to tackle the listening test, it will be very miserable for you, no matter what.
Yeah, that is true. That's why ITP, they have three
I
sections,
see.
right? And two of those sections are comprehension,
Hmm.
listening and reading comprehension.
Hmm.
The other one is structure. It's also actually grammar comprehension.
Grammar
It's just another.
comprehension, because
It is. It's just another
mm,
way.
whether you realize, whether most people realize it or not, understanding grammar requires, broad comprehension, comprehension of place, time, genders, and perhaps other context that is contained within the sentence, right?
Yes, and so many of them. Um, but with ITP, like I said, yeah, there's only three, and they're all comprehensive that is being tested. What's not being tested are productive skills, or how you
Mm.
reproduce the language with your own mouth, yeah, and your own vocal. They did not have a test where
Mm.
you have to speak or write.
Okay.
So ITP test get rid of you that. So for those of you who think that those are the burden, good for you, right?
Right.
But for those of you who thinks that no, I need to have this, then ITP is not for you. IBT is the one proper for you. But if you ask me if it's possible to have 500 for the first time, it's possible. But you need to have a course.
Okay, Mas Gabi, let's just say that I have never taken an TOEFL test before, and I need to do it. What should I do
Yes.
first?
Well, I always suggest that, like it or not, TOEFL, you need to have a guidance test, a guidance course, sorry, a course where you get to know the rules and regulations of the language itself and what's being asked in TOEFL. Because, like I said, it's like a game and you need to walk
Right.
through. It's also kind of like virus where you need to get the antivirus, and that course is basically the antivirus. So know this, know this. It's very hard for you to survive on TOEFL without knowing what's being asked. Now, in those
I
courses,
see. Right.
they taught you that they actually teach you how to answer these questions using a specific set of structures or grammar or another method, which will be able to be become a standard if there's another question asked. So you can still use that method or standard if the question is different, and that is what they've been selling.
Right. Right. Okay. So basically, we can have ourselves experience the test first by taking a simulation test. Let's just say that way.
That is
Simulation
true.
test,
Yes.
to make ourselves familiar with the real battlefield.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Because um, what when you go to internet and you get to see TOEFL like exercises or TOEFL
Mm.
exercises, believe me, your expectation will be shattered. TOEFL tests
Mm.
change every several weeks. Okay, maybe even every week. Okay, I've been a proctor for TOEFL tests. I think maybe more than 10 times, and all those times I always find out that the questions are always different. They have this series of different questions,
Of course, of
and
course. They need to update the
yeah,
test so that people won't
exactly.
experience the same thing.
Yeah, and it's very hard if you think that okay, uh, I I joined TOEFL test today. I'm not gonna have a course. I'm taking it next week, hoping that the question will be the same. It's not.
Of
The
course not.
question will not be the same. Matter of fact, even just a different room
Mm.
is already different sets of
Right.
questions. So yeah, so it's not possible unless you find out the way to survive that, and the way to survive that is by joining courses. You can still learning on your own though. I actually, when I was asked first to teach TOEFL classes, I have no experience in taking TOEFL
Right.
tests. So I decided before I go to teach it, let me just have the test. I had the test and I got like 470, which was low, right?
Right.
For my standard. For my standard. So I asked my mom. My mom was an English teacher, and she actually knows one thing or two about TOEFL. So she taught me the basic of it, which got me interested because my mom was, a teacher from school, and she's old school style.
Right?
But yeah, but when I look at the book, they have this all really, what do you call it, contemporary way of teaching the language, and I realized something, that even if my mom knows how to work these tests, and this book is even using contemporary method, so basically there is one fine line that is the same from all these years of TOEFL guidance.
And what is
So
it?
after, what is that?
So what is it?
Should I spill the bean? I mean, like,
Not yet.
is it
Okay, we'll
okay?
get there
Is it
slowly.
okay?
Okay.
Okay, fine. Right.
Okay, so now let's just say that I got 400 after my first test. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Then what step should I take? Or should I take next? Should I take a course, or should I learn by myself? And how should I make the decision? How should I base my decision?
Right. Okay. So, very good question. Of course, the safest bet will be to take a course, okay, and take the one that is a good one, the one that is preferably has a good track record of alumnus or graduates from that course that have the score. They usually have this testimonial. They usually have this what do you call it, like a scoreboard that they put
Right.
on their websites or everything, that kind of show that, well, look, our students scored this high,
Right.
and look for the good one. And don't just like, hey, I can speak English, okay, let's study with me because I will teach you how to do TOEFL. No, like I said, it's not about how good your English
It's about
is.
technicality as
Okay,
well.
it's about technicality. So go and look for the good one. That's if you want to join a course.
Right.
If not, there is still a way, and the way is, it's a bit painful actually, is that you go basic, okay? By basic, I mean study the grammar again, starting from the
Yes.
very,
True.
starting from the
I uh,
very bottom.
I agree. Totally agree. Because most people think that, by taking a course, you can actually buy a shortcut to get 500 plus score. But in fact,
Yeah,
it is not a shortcut. It could be a
it is not.
shortcut if you have you have a very good basic. If you don't, then it will be a waste of money.
Yes, when you get to this TOEFL guidance test, sorry, TOEFL guidance course,
Course.
okay, they will not going to teach you the basic of the language anymore.
Yes, because
They
it will be
expect,
painful for the other students if we keep going back to the old lesson.
and it's also time consuming.
Oh, true,
Whereas in
true.
TOEFL course, yeah, they don't have a lot of time, and sometimes the what do you call it, the gap or the time that is there between the course and the test is not long. So maybe just like, you need to have this test in 2 months, so you take it 2 months before.
Or
Okay,
perhaps
and
less
that
than
is
1 month.
that
That's
I
even
hate that.
worse.
That is worse. I hate that, but that happens a lot.
Especially
So
if you
there's
don't
this
have
time,
a robust basic.
especially if you don't have idea about what is actually on the test procedure,
Right.
because even though after they finish the test, people still think that, oh, I failed this because my English is not good. It's not that. It's not that. It's not that. So yeah. So once again, I'm talking about going to the grammar, not just because for the structure. Because a lot of people think that, oh, grammar is only for the structure. It's not, my friend. It's not. It is applicable in all those three sections: in listening, in
True.
reading, and also in structure. Exactly.
True.
Now,
Agree.
agree. Yeah? Now this what do you call it? Going to the basic requires you to even understand down to what is a subject and what is a verb,
That's
because
very
those two are the
basic.
basic element. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and maybe I've talked to you a lot, off screen about this, Mr. Joe, but we always discuss about how English is all about time,
True.
and it's basically about when when something happens, and a lot of people don't realize this. They don't realize that when time became a factor in language, people just think that, oh, it's okay. We can always use non-temporal concept of the language because we in the nation we don't have that. We say one word and it can mean for any time. We just need a time adverbs on the back to
Right,
explain when
that's a
that thing
very
happens.
important lesson actually. You have to understand the nature, the basic nature of the language you are studying.
Yes, and in English it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
English is in a way more complicated than Indonesian language. But that's the beauty of
Yes,
it. That makes everything clear
and
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 less
and that is
ambiguous, of
all.
course.
And that is, I guess it's also the reason why English is being chosen as international language, not because of the British influence in the world, no, but more because that language is not that easy to learn, but also not that difficult. If you compare it to French, if you compare it to Spanish,
Well,
I
at
mean, I
least we
understand those
only have
languages, right?
very few definite and indefinite, right? Compared to the
We don't have,
German.
yes, yes. In English,
we,
you don't have
at least we
masculine
only
and
have
feminine form.
one the.
Yep. You don't
At
have
least.
you don't have masculine and feminine form. Okay.
Right.
You don't have the formal informal form,
Right.
right? Yeah. And what's also interesting is that um, kind of like Arabic language, who said it to who's the sentence being addressed to completely changes the word.
Right, right.
Okay. uh, what one man said to one woman might be different to what one man said to if the speaker is one woman and one man.
True.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So be thankful for
so
that.
be thankful for that. And it's not really that what do you call it? Voice based language like Thai
Chinese.
or Chinese, yeah.
Hmm.
Whereas short or long of a letter
Hmm.
might create differences in the meaning, but no, English is all about time, and a lot of people they don't really realize that because again, like I said, they thought that all languages are the same,
Right.
so you can treat English just like you treat Indonesian. It's not, and that's why I said go to the basic of the language if you want to score well without having a course.
Okay, now let's talk about basic or specifically recognizing our basic skill. Okay,
Yep.
how do we recognize our basic skill? Because even though you fail the TOEFL test, I don't think many people are aware of with the way to recognize your own skill. And how do we do that? How do we recognize our own skill? Because it will translate to a lot of things.
I love doing this simple test to my students. I love to test their understandings of the two core elements of language, of English language, right? It's the subject of verb. I always ask them to write a sentence about what they do every day. Okay,
Okay, and
like
then
okay. Now, when you're writing about things that you do every day, you use one specific form. The most basic and the simplest form of all the language
is the
of
simple
English
form,
language
present simple.
is the simple form, present simple.
Yeah, because that's
And
how Indonesian works basically.
yes, and lots of my students, okay, who failed TOEFL tests, and once I gave that simple test, they failed. A lot of them still using to be, and then uh, and then still using am.
Yes. Or verb
I
ing
I
without to be.
yeah, or for me, yeah, I helping my parents. Nope, wrong.
Nope,
Okay,
wrong. Totally
I
wrong.
I is hungry. Nope. Okay. And then I always ask this. I ask them this. Okay. I eat pizza. Oh no, no. That's not the sentence. I always use this. I am angry. Okay. People, tell me, where is the subject? They will say I. Okay, good. Now what is the verb? And you know immediately their answer. Angry.
It's
They always
true.
answer that verb is angry.
Okay.
It's you know it's not, right?
Ah,
You know it's not.
there's actually another thing that people with enough proficiency should emphasize, because no matter how much vocabulary you can express with your verbal skill, you also need to be able to break down the whole sentence in a
Yes.
more
Yes.
technical term, because that's actually how
Yep.
you can help yourself with the structure test.
Yeah, and in those TOEFL guidance course,
Right.
that is what exactly the instructor is telling you to always break down the sentence by functions. Because when you break down the sentence by functions, you will get through it easier rather than you just try to guess out which words that might fit this sentence. It's not gonna work that
Right.
way. No, you have to know the functions
Hmm.
of every word in a sentence. And if you think that's only work for the structure, no. Think again. Even in reading, it is important because the
True.
question in reading and in listening doesn't go further from that. They always go about the elements of the sentence, all about that. Really, they just have different way or different style to ask you the question. But all in all, it's all about that.
Okay, so next question. How long does it take to prepare ourselves with the basic before taking the test?
Um, well, there is no actual time limit or length. Yeah, for me. Yeah. If you feel that you understand everything already, just go for it. Okay. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I said back to the basic, that means you have to master all the grammars. Okay. You don't have to. When I said mastering grammar, people always think that, oh, I have to remember all the names. No, no, don't remember all the names. Just remember the function. And when this happen, or when do this sentence use, in what kind of situation. That's it. Okay? And understand the basic elements of the sentence is what important. And I guess that's what a lot of people forgetting. They think that, oh, I have to remember all the grammar. No, no, because some questions are not about that time grammar. Some questions are about connectors. Some questions are about the adverb that can change into subject, which is super annoying.
Or just the
Some
time?
question, or
Or
just the
just
time.
the time?
Some question ask about vocabulary. Okay,
Right.
whether in listening, in reading, or in structure, vocabulary is everywhere. Okay, some questions about appositives, which I hate. Okay, and inversion. You hate inversion. I hate inversion.
I don't hate inversion. Okay.
You haven't been stuck with inversions before.
Right.
Hey, inversion messes up the timeline, remember? Okay.
Oh yeah, of course. Right. Okay, continue. And then?
So yeah, I don't set a specific time, but once you feel that you're ready, try to do it. Okay. A little bit of tips, because we've been talking about structure all this time. We need to touch the other aspect as well. Say, for example, reading. Yeah. Um, the reading format in TOEFL tests are basically academic.
Right.
Okay. But there is one. I'm gonna give it away. I'm gonna give it away. Just one secret for all TOEFL tests
Okay.
is
Yeah,
that the
what is
reading
it?
session. Yeah, is that the reading session, Mr. Jojo, is always been in the format of standard American writing. And what is standard American writing? You find out yourself. Okay. But if I have to give you a little bit more clue, it's going to be the most important thing is in the front.
Can you say again? I'm losing you there, Mascape. Can you say that again?
The most the most important things, okay, are in the first early part of the paragraph.
Well, it's basically how do we do the Indonesian language test for for the final national exam. If you think
Kind
about
of,
it, TOEFL
kind
reading
of, kind
test
of.
is basically the English version of Indonesian language in the national final exam.
Yeah, it
If you
is
think
true.
about it, they are the same.
But but let me go down a little bit. Okay, let
Right.
me let me broaden this out a little bit. Not just on national test, yeah, but the easiest form of national test. Because in national test you can have the the important things at the end of the paragraph. That
Right.
is still possible. But in TOEFL, it's not possible. It's always in the first part. It's always in the early part of the sentences.
It is
Where is
always the
that? You
main
have to take the
idea.
course.
It is always the
Yeah,
main
it's
idea.
always the main
It is
idea.
always
Yeah.
the main
Once
idea.
you once you find the main idea,
Hmm.
whew, cakewalk, man. And that is for the reading. As for the listening,
Hmm.
well, I'm gonna show you another tips. Okay, you listen to a lot of movies. Okay, especially American movies. Why?
Yes.
Why?
Don't don't
Why?
don't don't prepare yourself by watching British movies. They're totally different.
I have a friend. Oh no, I have a student who prepared TOEFL by watching Sherlock, and he got messed up. No, don't do that. Okay,
don't
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 do
do
that.
that.
Don't do that. You should watch American movies or American series. Why? One, TOEFL is made by American company and it's
Yes.
using American English and
True.
it's tested, yeah, and it's made by American people.
True.
So you will find lots of the reading material, lots of the structure and the listening sections are all American based. Matter of fact, one of the most common thing that is being talked about in TOEFL test is American education system. It's it's a soft marketing. It's how they sell these schools in America. Now you realize it.
Now you know. Now you
Now you know.
know.
Now you know. So yeah,
Okay.
familiarize yourself with American way of what do you call it? American way of
English.
school, of education, of English. Yeah, uh, a lot of you might want to also know American. Here's the annoying thing: American metric system. I hate that, but they're using pounds. They're using miles.
Yards.
Okay, no, they don't use yards, but they use miles and they use what do you call it?
Feet.
Ounce and ounce and feet. Okay.
Yes, feet.
Now familiarize yourself with those. Okay,
Hmm.
with those methods because they're different with kilometers, they're different with centimeters, they're different with liters. It's all different, yeah? And there will be question about that. Okay, so do familiarize yourself with that. And why American movies? Because the remarks in the listening section will mirror American movies. Most of the answers, most of the dialogues there, you will find in American movies. Believe me. Okay, just one example. Okay, this might come out. I mean, most of the TOEFL tests, yeah, they will have this section. Two person, men and women. The women say this. Okay, the food in this restaurant is good. That's the women. Okay? The men
Okay.
will say this. I'll say, now the question is, what does the man say? What does the man mean about that? You don't get any other clue than the man said. I'll say,
I'll say that's very
right?
American
I'll
thing to say.
that is what American thing. You imagine Uncle Sam playing basketball, and then you're like, that is a very good throw. I'll say.
Hmm.
So yeah, what does the word "all say" means? What does the sentence mean? Now that is the question, guys. So that's why watch a lot of American movies. Don't be afraid, right? I mean, a lot of people say like, "Oh, I'm
Okay.
not gonna watch American movies
Okay,
because
now
they're
let's
Hollywood."
let's compare the language a bit. Okay, the American English and the British English. If in
Right.
American English I'll say, then how do you say that in British English?
I'll second that.
True.
Equally, equally
True.
passionate. Yeah?
True.
Equally passionate. Yeah. I'll
Right.
second that.
I'll second that. But Mas, my mom is crazy. In British, you say my mom is mental.
your mom, your mom has lost it.
Yes, lost it. Okay, so know the
Lost it.
difference.
Now the difference, yeah. Like a lot of my students asking me like, Mister, why is it called fish and chips? Why is that fish and fries? That's because American call it fries.
Okay.
and, and
Is it biscuits or crackers?
is it biscuit or cookies?
Oh yeah. Is
Cookies,
it
yeah.
pants or trousers?
Is it flat or apartment? Is it lift
Right.
or elevator? Is it truck or lorry? Is it pavement or
Is it car
sidewalk?
park or the parking area? That's two different or parking lot. That's two different things,
It's,
right?
yes, they're all
Yeah.
trash and garbage bins.
Right. So remember, folks, get yourself used to with American English if you want to take the
Yeah.
TOEFL test. And I also have this one tips that I think will be very useful to everyone. Before the test, condition your brain with English environment. That means when you are, washing the dishes, cleaning your house, sleeping, reading, or doing exercise. Plug in your earphone and listen to to podcast, to a talk show or anything spoken in American English. Why? Because that will condition your brain
English.
to switch
Yep.
into English mindset.
Yeah. Try to catch what Eminem said in his songs.
Or you can listen to Slipknot. No, that's not helpful. That's not helpful. Okay, just you don't have to write anything down. You don't have to make a summary out of the thing you listen to. You don't have to do that. Just listen. Just listen. Just
Yep.
get your brain used to it.
Familiarize yourself. Oh,
Yes.
here's an interesting thing. You can go to YouTube actually
Right.
and go look for Harvard, Columbia State University, or any or Yale or any other American university's open lecture. Okay, they will have that on YouTube. You can just listen to it and see if you catch it and you figure it out. I love watching a lot of American universities open lecture. Matter of fact, my first bachelor's degree paper, I finished it because I actually downloaded a set of uh, open lectures from an American university,
Oh,
and on
really?
my really
Yeah.
on my paper defense, I played that, and they were like, they watched that, and I was like, is it enough? Can I split? Can I stop it so I can go back to my paper? And my professor was like, wait.
Oh, let's just keep watching.
Let's just keep watching. And I was like, it's on YouTube. You can just open YouTube.
Okay, yeah. One more thing I like to add about the whole brain conditioning thing, right?
Yep.
You need to know that it is not a shortcut. It is just a
No.
way to get yourself used to it. It is not a shortcut.
Yes.
So if you know that you will eventually take a TOEFL test or any kind of test, get yourself used to it. Just listen.
Yes. Yes. Just
If
listen.
you hate reading, if you think reading is time consuming, if you think that you can if you think that reading will won't allow you to do anything else, just listen.
Exactly.
Just listen.
Exactly. Brain is just like muscle. They have memory. Muscle have muscle memory. Brain have memory as well. So if you're a physical sportsman, you know how to ride bicycle. That's because your muscle is remembering how to do that. Now, brain is the same. Condition your brain to do that. Listen to a lot of American music, American movies, American talks, open lectures, like I said. Yeah, and those are just for the listening skills. If you need productive skill, go to OmniGym.
Good. Yes. If you need some productive skill, or you want to, you want to learn a simple lesson with a lot of practice, you can go to OmniGym and the gym will open soon. So wait for it. Right.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Maski, before we wrap this session, let's just conclude
Yep.
everything we have talked. Okay, everything we have
Yeah.
discussed.
It's,
First of all,
it's
you
very possible to
yes,
get 500, but you need to go back to basic. Okay.
yes,
The safest
you
bet,
have to understand yourself. You have to recognize
understand
yourself.
yourself, recognize yourself, know your limit.
Know
Okay.
your limit.
And work over that limit. Okay. So, break down that limit and go over that. And the safest bet is always taking a course. Okay. But if you insist of not taking the course, or maybe you are short of cash, that's it, right? Just make sure that you condition yourself, just like what Mr. Jojo said. Okay. Listen to a lot of American music, American talks, American movies, and learn American way of English. And don't forget to always check back for the structure and for the grammar, especially American English.
Okay. One more thing from me. Don't rush. Don't you ever dare to rush the process. If you know that,
Oh,
as I said earlier, if you know that you will eventually need to take the test, you have to start preparing yourself right from this
yes.
moment. Okay. Let's just
Yes,
say
yes,
that you
yes.
you think that you don't have enough basic to tackle the test, and you need to take the test next year. Well, you can start preparing yourself from now. And the
Yeah,
earlier
yeah.
you start, the less effort you spend to prepare yourself, right?
Yes. Right. Don't procrastinate.
The,
Not good. Not
not
good.
good,
Not
not
for
good,
couple
not
times.
good.
Okay.
Especially those of you, for all of you university students who are required to take TOEFL tests in the end of your study.
Uh,
You have
Term,
to
yeah.
start preparing yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, you might think that English is not going to be important for you, but you still need to graduate, right? Yeah.
at the very
Just
least,
learn
you still need to
at the very
graduate.
least, right? At the very least, you still need to graduate, and even though you're not gonna use English, at least you will know when you get to another country vacationing, you know how to ask how much is it for a candy.
Or at least you'll know how to how to argue someone online in English, of
Ah,
course.
yeah, that is interesting. Yes,
That's
true.
interesting. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much, Mas Gabriel. Let's wrap it up. Thank you for sharing us all these
Thank you.
informations. I hope everything can be useful to everyone.
Right.
All right, see you
Thank
everyone.
you
Thank
very
you.
much.